No, you look fine. You don't look like you just had some dentist work done.
Good.
So that's really interesting. So back in the day, you were talking about where you'd go and throw rocks down in Marin City. So the place where the community center is now was just, it had water.
Well, it wasn't where the community center is.
Oh,
it was
okay.
called the Middle Road, and it was
Okay.
where the first, not the first, but probably the second housing project that took place, and it was in the bowl. So right where you see the baseball field on all the way down to Drake Avenue, that was considered the Middle Road.
Oh.
And so as kids growing up, we never walked around Drake Avenue to get to Hayden's Market.
Right.
We would cut through the Middle
Cut through
Road.
oh, I see.
And so, there was always rocks and gravel. So, kids would throw rocks, And I think about that because when they developed that area and put the apartments and homes in there and the townhouses, kids would come through there because that was the access. There was like access roads.
Right.
And I remember the homeowners and people living in that area would be really upset because you would always see people coming through that didn't live there, and they didn't understand that they moved into a community
that had been doing that
for years.
Yeah.
And to the point where they painted the curbs, because that was Hayden's Market at the front.
I remember Hayden's.
So, people parked along there. That was a big parking lot. People hung out there.
Yeah.
So when you see people hanging out around Drake and Cole and in the 100 lot, 200 lot, that's a natural thing.
Yeah.
It's not a gang thing. It's not a, people loitering.
Right.
It was a community within a community,
exactly.
and that's where people congregated,
Right.
And if you were not old enough to go to the front and hang out, the kids hung out and the people hung out. So you grow up in that community and you don't leave that community. So now you have people who are probably in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 30s, maybe even hanging out because that's what we did.
Yeah.
And mostly everybody was family. So you were really standing in front of your cousin's house
Right.
or standing in your grandma's yard.
Right.
Or so you were being watched and monitored.
Exactly.
Whereas now the community's grown and new people are coming in and it's not the same as it used to be. For people who still live there, we have that.
Right.
And you know what it is. But for people who have moved into the area, they don't have a clue. And unless you embrace the community and become part of the community, you don't get it.
Exactly. And I think that's like kind of what the problem is, all these people coming in with programs and stuff that they don't understand the community. They don't hang out down there. They're just not associated at all. And they come in with these quote solutions to a problem they know nothing about. Nothing about.
And nowadays it's all about outcomes, so they come into our communities, not just Marin City, but other communities, and it's the numbers.
Oh.
So you can get funding
Right.
based on the people, the demographics, and the people that you serve. So, there's a lot of funding coming, but where do we really get to benefit?
I mean, where are you seeing the funding? Where's the funding going?
I don't know what funding is going.
Right.
And then when you have outside organizations that are getting funding for our area,
Right.
but our children don't get to participate.
So they're using you essentially to get money, and then the money never even gets to the community or the children.
It doesn't get to the community, and where we do have
It's a
services
disgrace.
for, it's probably not enough, or I call it splitting the pie. So,
Right.
Maybe they can only serve so many, or they have their field already, so there's no space. And until somebody grows out of that program, but then you maybe have a wait list or something, and so you still don't get to. And so that's my thing. I've never wanted to see a child not be able to be a part of something because of the numbers or because of the funding. I'd like to be able to serve as many whomever,
Right.
And it doesn't matter if they're already in a program or not. They can still benefit from what I'm doing. I don't have to deny a child because they're receiving services or, from somewhere else. They're a part of another program.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So you're saying like other programs have an allotment or a limited amount of kids they can serve based on the funding they're getting, so they're turning kids away.
Yeah.
Or they're not allowing kids to have access to, like, say, if they wanted theater and sports.
Right.
Or
they may not be able to do that because of the funding type,
Right.
or, and I don't know what programs that might be, but I've heard that is a situation. And so I wouldn't want that to be.
Right.
I would like to not be so, I don't want to be exclusive. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd like to be able to include as many children that want to participate.
How do you feel we can best serve the Marin City community and kids? I mean, what are the needs right now? What do you see kids not receiving that they should be receiving, or what could really help them with
I think
programs?
that we need a comprehensive program or project that not only develops the artistic, but the social, emotional,
Right.
and artistic, because it all goes together.
Yep.
If you think about most people who are artists, we're kind of melancholy people. So, we have those moments, because the gifting kind of, and the creativity comes from a place within. And so if you don't get to express that through your artistry,
Right.
a lot of times you suffer in silence emotionally
I agree.
because you just don't know where to go or how to place that energy.
It's misguided, and
It's-
and if you're not being creative, you're being destructive a lot of the
Exactly.
times. They're two sides of a coin.
And whereas with sports, you can get that energy out.
Right.
You can't do that with an artist. They have to be able to create.
So sports, it's like there's a lot of sports opportunities for kids, but what if that like boy or girl, for example, isn't into sports?
Exactly.
What is there for them to do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
And a lot of times they get isolated, and like you say, it turns within, and it can be very destructive
Right.
or discouraging or disheartening, because everybody expects you to be an athlete, or everybody expects you to be somebody that you're not.
And artists are so sensitive as it is. They're just
That's what I'm
born so
talking
sensitive.
about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So if you don't get to create, and it doesn't have to be singing, dancing, it doesn't have to be the performing arts.
Right.
A lot of times it's the behind the scenes stuff. It's
Right.
the people who write. It's the people, and sometimes it's all of that. You may have that in one particular person. It could be in the theater, spectrum. It could be wardrobing. It could be stage management. It could be the cameras. I want to be able to eventually, through our project, do that.
Have a full ecosystem.
Yes.
Yeah.
And develop it, because I feel like, and not only that, through the development of that, they will be able to access other platforms. I don't want them to just stay with us and be like,
Right.
no, I want to teach you and develop you so that you can go to the mountain play.
Right.
You can go to College of Marin. You can go to some of the dance studios
Yes.
and really show what you can do, and to be able to not just go and attend as a student, but to be able to perform at that level.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up, as I explained to you, I
Yeah.
had that platform in the community
Right.
for 10 years, but nobody thought past that to develop me to the point where I could, audition for the mountain play. I could audition for some of these other places and attend some of the greatest schools. Juilliard was one of the schools that I desired to go to. I was a volleyball player, got a scholarship to go to any college,
Okay.
wherever. But I wanted to perform. That was my platform. That was my oyster.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know too much about college, but I knew I wanted to perform. I just saw my name in lights forever.
Yeah.
And never really reached that until I was older, and then I started being able to perform at that level, even to get on the play Ma Rainey at College of Marin.
Oh, I wish I saw that.
Be able to do the mountain play. Played what was it? I'm baffling now. My mind is kind of just racing, but singing Motormouth Mabel. Played Motormouth Mabel.
Oh, how
And
fun.
So it was kind of cool, but I was like 50 years old at that point. I'd been singing since I was 3, performing live on stage when I was 10.
So if you had some guidance at the end of those 10 years as to what the next steps
Or
were,
even within those 10 years, because I started at 10, I finished at 20.
but you had to find your own way.
I had to find my own way, and I'd like to be able to be in a position to introduce our youth to that platform earlier on.
Right.
I went with LaShawn Holcomb. He
Oh,
took
okay.
the team of students to his theater group to New York,
Griot Theater.
Real Theater,
Okay.
and
That's
it was
cool.
like a bucket list thing, because I got to perform on the Apollo Theater
No.
on the stage. One of the things
I
that
know
I
you
saw
have video.
myself
I wanna
doing,
see that.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Got to go to Juilliard's. You know what I mean? And as a see
Better
it.
late than never.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that bucket list stuff.
Right.
But can you imagine if at a younger age I was able to and actually attend Juilliard?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And not feeling like I couldn't get there because I didn't have a pathway or I didn't really know how to.
So it was a lack of access.
Lack of access.
Yeah.
So being able to provide that kind of access, I think is going to be
opportunity.
phenomenal. And I don't, they say despise not the small things, so I don't despise not being able to do that because I've met so many people along the way so that I can open some doors, I can get some people
beautiful.
through some things. And so that's why I feel like, this project would be,
Your give back, because
Yeah,
you
it'd be
know
my
from
give back.
experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I've been thinking, just looking at like the zip codes in Southern Marin,
Mm-hmm.
and the opportunity even within the same zip code, how the different access to the arts is just so inequitable, and it's really a shame. It's like we have all this knowledge around it, but what are people actually doing about it? And the fact that these kids like aren't seeing the money directly, but the money's being raised all over Marin for quote Marin City. I just don't know if it's going to their overhead or what, and not to knock what other nonprofits are doing,
Right.
because it's all great, and
Yes.
we all work hand in hand, but with Aragon Foundation, what I'm trying to do is enrich enrichment programs. So if there's already, it seems like people are really siloed, like, and if everyone could kind of come together, like we were talking about the larger ecosystem,
Yes.
we could really make a huge impact, and not just short term, but I'm thinking long term, multi-year funding.
Yes.
Kids can have access to these things in a way where they can look forward to participating. And they know they can count on people to be there for them through
Exactly.
their development. So, like if you had access to, I'm just going to say unlimited funding. We don't have unlimited funding to give at this
Right.
point. But hey,
Can you imagine? I mean, oh God, I could see our youth rising to become Sullivan Jones. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Who his dad, David Jones, was my mentor and the person who created Concerned Citizens for Marin City.
Oh,
and that
okay.
was the platform in which I participated in from the age 10 till I was 20.
Are you talking about David Jones from College Marin, the dance instructor?
No, not David Jones from College Marin. That's another David Jones.
okay.
He's the dance instructor
Right.
at College Marin. But this was David Jones, who was an actor, studied at, I believe, San Francisco State. He was a banker, but he invested in the community. And what he would do is put on 2 shows a year.
Oh.
And we would raise money for scholarship funding
Okay.
for high school students and then for continuing education. And I did that for 10 years. And that was the civic duty I'm talking about.
Right.
Being able to perform at that level in my day
Yeah.
gave me sense of ownership in my community. The rec center was mine. That was my platform.
Yeah.
So when we talk about being assets to the community and giving back, I was able to do that for 10 years. And I still am giving back, and this is another level of give back. But the important thing about it was when you are a part of something and you can take ownership in it, you take care of it, you appreciate it. You don't trash it. And we were talking about earlier the throwing the rocks and stuff.
Right.
Well, the story to that was, kids are throwing rocks coming through because that's kind of generational. It was a place where you play.
Right.
And all of a sudden there's buildings erected. So you not think kids are like, this is what we do.
Right.
And I think one kid, what we were talking about, threw a rock and hit a car, but it wasn't like he was trying to throw a rock at the car. He was just throwing rocks.
Right.
And hit the car.
Right.
But that was a playground. That was the whole community was our playground. There was not anywhere that was off limits to us. And now that you
how
built
beautiful that was.
communities
I just
in
remember the
communities.
kids could just run from house to
Roam.
house,
Yeah.
go get a piece of pie here, go get some candies. And everyone kind of looked out for
Yeah.
all of the kids, and
Yeah.
they just
It was a family community.
it was beautiful. Yeah.
And most of the people were related, either by marriage or by blood. And
Right.
it still is that way. There's a lot of people
there were
in
some
there.
just core family
Yeah,
names. I
of
remember.
course,
Yeah.
And you could go anywhere. And we lived in Golden Gate Village. It wasn't that then. I lived, first of all, in the Center Bowl when I was about 2.
Okay.
I remember walking through the middle road. Then we moved over to what is now known as Golden Gate Village.
Which was the tall building?
No, it's the flats. We
Oh, the
lived in the
flats.
flats.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think it's all Golden Gate, but we lived in the flats because we had multiple children. And I remember being there for about a year. We moved to Park Circle when I was about 3, so I was going to preschool. So we only stayed there probably about a year.
Where's
year
Park
and a half.
Circle, on the other
it's
side?
It's up above where the new construction is being built. Right off of Drake, up from Rocky Grand Park, so where you see that new building.
I didn't know there was a new building.
Oh,
being
there's
built.
a new housing development going on right there where the Village Baptist Church was.
Oh, that's gone?
Village Baptist burned down, and so they are erecting a new housing project there.
I
There
didn't
was
know
a lot of
it burned.
controversy
When did
about
that
it.
burn down?
Years ago. Can't be exactly sure, but
Wow.
caught fire and they weren't able to rebuild. They sold the property.
I'm so out of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my house was to the, if you're looking down towards Rocky Grand, was to the left of that.
Uh-huh.
And that's where we moved when I was about 4 years old.
Uh-huh.
And my mom still lives in that house.
Wow. So
But
you went
yeah.
through MLK and then you went to TAM.
It was Bayside.
Oh, Bayside.
And my generation was the first group that entered into the Bayside campus. They had an older kind of building, and they rebuilt it. So my classmates and I were the first ones to go into that.
Where was the
grade.
Bayside location then? Is that where
Right where it is right now.
Okay.
Well, it's MLK now, but that
Uh-huh.
was the Bayside campus.
Got
Then
it.
we had Central, which is further down into Sausalito, which is now the City Hall.
Yes, okay.
That was 2nd through 4th grade.
Okay.
And then you went to Richardson Bay, which was then renamed Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh, okay.
And you did, I think, 5th through 8th grade
Uh-huh.
there.
And then TAM.
And then you went to TAM, or, most people went to TAM when I was growing up. Some went to Redwood.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of where you started getting the separations of where kids were going to go to school versus. So majority of the students came from the Marin City area that went to TAM.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I know I've skipped around a lot, but
That's
I
okay.
tell
Such a rich
you,
history.
There's just so much to be told.
And then within those 10 years that you did have the funding and stuff, what were you doing with the
Well, I didn't
kids?
have the funding for the 10 years.
Oh,
The
you
10
didn't.
years was when I was performing.
Got it.
Attempted to bring that back by developing a choir, just because there was a need. I sing all the time, and so I felt like there's nothing. I'm usually a solo act. When people want something done, they call me to do it.
Oh, I know.
And
You
I'm
do every
figuring,
wedding, every funeral.
everything.
Every
and so
event.
I'm thinking, like, wouldn't it be nice to have a community? Because we had an adult choir. That was, I think, organized by Ruby Miles, the late Ruby Miles, and I sung with her community choir, but we didn't have one for children.
Okay.
Not that children weren't welcome, but generally it was just an adult choir.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought, well, why not maybe develop a youth choir, because they all kind of wanted to sing.
Yeah.
And I said, well, start one. And there was an opportunity for a $5,000 scholarship. It was a one-time thing. And we did that. But, that kind of money doesn't last long when you're, feeding, when you're trying to, pay people, when you're buying materials.
Right.
It just doesn't last.
And so was that like 10 years ago that you
No,
did
that was years ago. That
Oh, even
was-
longer?
Yes, I would say now, because the kids that were in that group are now in their 40s.
Oh.
So I would say it's been about maybe
30 years?
30 years at
So it was
max.
back in early 90s then?
Yeah.
Wow, that's when Kiana was born in 94, so you were doing it back
Yeah,
then.
so late 90s, because, they would have been around 14, 15,
Oh, I
between
see.
10, 15. So, yeah,
So wouldn't it be cool to start up a Marin City Youth Choir again?
that would be great. That'd be awesome, and even, and more of artist development and all of the other components that go with it, so that they can give back, not just be a choir
Right.
of kids that you come and you just learn how to sing and you just sing together when you're doing that. I want them to be able to perform, their pieces, whether it's solo or group or choir,
Right.
you know.
Because there's so much skill development in that in and of itself,
Yeah.
too. Preparing for something, you become a
Yeah.
community together, and then, so you would probably do maybe I was thinking about this. I imagined you guys at the fair, the
fair,
Marin County Fair,
Marin County
or
Fair.
a Christmas pageant, or
All
something.
kinds of stuff, and even start some things that have never been done.
Oh, that's
you
even
know.
more cool. So maybe we start with that, and then we can expand it into some other areas. You had talked
Yes.
about maybe some theater, or what
I'd
are
like
some of your other
definitely
ideas?
theater, dance, because it all goes hand in hand.
It does.
I'd like to work with David Jones. I have Open Door with him, at College of Marin. He's been asking me to come and bring my group, to do some things with with the his program that he does, because he puts on a show every year.
Oh,
His
that
fall
could be
show.
amazing.
And, it'd be nice to put something together,
Singing, and then maybe have Gigi do some
some
dance
dancing,
instruction.
yeah, and bring that together as incorporate all of that.
Right.
So that's what I'm hoping to do,
Yeah.
and I've spoken with Gigi, and she's looking forward to having that conversation as well. So
Yeah, I talked to her briefly, so and I wanted to get back in touch with her after we found out who was going to be taking over the after-school programming at MLK,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's going to be music based on the El Sistema system, really cool. And I feel like if we were able to, I'm meeting with them next week, as I said, if we're able to connect with them so they really understand how unique Marin City is,
Yes.
how different it is than Sausalito, how it has individual needs, and the history of it. I mean, there's just such rich history. I loved the thing that Felicia had put together. And Felicia does a great job.
she does.
And she does a limited amount of stuff, and this would just be in addition to, so
Yeah,
it's
not
adding
taking
to-
anything from
not
anybody's
taking away.
program,
Exactly.
not trying to come in and undermine anybody's what they're doing. But I think what we're doing is something totally different.
Yes.
The approach is different. Yes, we are developing artists, dancers or singers, whatever. But I think that the uniqueness of it is that it's about giving back on a higher level. There's civic duty to the community.
I love that.
So that, like I said, becoming assets to your community is the greatest thing, because we're developing people, not just artists. And I
That's so
think
strong.
that's my strong point. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I went to school, back to school at after 30 years to become an architect.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
I did all my studies and got to the last wire and couldn't continue because of the carpal tunnel for the years of fine industrial stuff. So, you have to be able to draft, and my hands would swell so bad I couldn't. And so I was like, God, why would you let me go through all of this, get to the end of it, and complete my courses? Of course, I completed the courses, but I couldn't continue to work. And he says, well, I needed to give you the foundation of what it means to build, because what you do is build lives. So that's my thing. I build lives.
You just give me goosebumps.
I've gone on to through the COVID season to get my certification in coaching. So I'm a community coach.
Oh, okay.
So all of the skills that I've acquired. So because I couldn't draft and complete my architecture, I went into communications. So completed all the studies in that. And
You're so multifaceted.
yeah, because I had to, because I'm like, okay, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But during that process, I'm taking, my history courses and all of that, so cross-cultural history. So I'm looking at what would I
Real
call,
history.
Yeah, what would I call all of that?
Yeah.
So from media to all of that. So when I look at all of the training and all the skill sets that I have, to complete all of that, it looks like for me, what my nonprofit consists of. And that is, the name God gave me was Community Focus.
Oh, okay.
So Community Focus encompasses a lot of different things, everything that I've ever done, even to having a director of mortuary services. So it's all about planning life, all of that from beginning to end.
Yeah.
How to develop your life and then how to plan for the end of life.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh my God. So he says, but I needed to give you that foundation in architectural design so that you knew how to, from the bottom up, construct. And he said, I've called you to build lives. So in this, that's what I feel like I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that people have, because if you're not an asset, you're a liability.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Marin City has been looked at for too many years as a liability.
Oh.
And so we have to do our part in helping people to construct and reconstruct.
Right. And we can be assets to the children in the community
Exactly.
and help them to become assets.
Exactly.
And community activists and be civically engaged and find pride.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and there's not
Because
really.
they're not our future. They're here. They're
Yeah.
now. They're our now. you know, and when you talk about long-term, what does that look like even for adults? Because I'm sure there are people like me who have dreamed about, you know, being on stage, performing, even though we may feel like, well, we don't really want to go to Broadway at 65 or whatever, but to be able to relive some of that, so put some plays together and incorporate the adults that are still, you know, passionate about these things.
Right.
So it's multi-generational.
Now, do you play piano as well? Do you play an instrument?
I played an instrument. My instrument was a clarinet in school,
I
so
love
I played
clarinet.
in grade school, elementary school. I also took guitar lessons, but I played folk guitar. And then I took up piano. And so this was all my junior high.
Oh, so when you do the choir, you play piano alongside that?
I don't play anymore
No.
because I started
With the carpal tunnel and
performing.
everything,
And I
yeah.
started singing and acting. So that kind of took precedence over. When I went to high school, I left my instrument.
Yeah.
And I started playing volleyball and I got into sports a little bit and just never went back to my instrument. But
Right.
I am looking forward to getting with Emily.
Emily, exactly.
I'm
That's
like, Emily, I need some lessons because it's hard for me. Most people play by ear, but I read music.
Oh, okay.
So I always want to go to my read, but I'd like to be able to just redevelop that skill for the scale, and just because I can hear, my ear is pretty good. So
Yeah. Well,
if I can incorporate the ear to the, you know, read.
you have to have
then
a good ear the way you
Yeah.
sing. I mean, you've got a beautiful singing voice. So, yeah, Emily, I think also is really invested in the community. She's driven. She's young, but she's just got
She's
it
full
going
of
on.
fire.
Yeah,
I
she's
love
full
her.
of fire. And I ran the idea by her, and she's interested in
Wonderful.
teaching kids. I think that. She had received a couple students from Rise Up 94965.
Okay.
And she's been teaching some private classes. However, the barrier there has been access getting the kids to the location. And it's just in Sausalito, but you know, parents are working. There's a lot of other stuff going on. It's hard to do that. So my idea has been bringing the opportunities where the kids are.
That
And
part.
it's just, I think, going to be so important because, you know, the parents are doing a lot. And, and so if we could put something together right there with walking distance, maybe with Cornerstone Church or the Senior Center or even the community. What's going on at the community center right now?
Well, you know, there's a lot of discussion about that. I know they've been, you know, cleaning it up. They've been remodeling it. It's kind of fenced off right now, so I think that they're doing some construction. It's been said that they're trying to build a new community center.
Now, who oversees that? Is it the school
It's the
district?
CSD. It's the Community Services District.
Okay.
So it may be we have to go to some of these meetings and find out what's happening
let's
with
do
it.
that, yeah.
You know, and see how, you know, that's going to impact us. And
How long has it been under construction?
it's been closed for a while, but I think they do like maybe basketball.
Okay.
They utilize it for certain things, but the building itself probably, like for renting it out and things like that, they've not been doing that too much.
Now, where does the boxing take place? Is that down there
The
too?
boxing was in the center.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of like down another wing of it.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're still open. I think they had closed.
Uh-huh.
It's really hard to tell. So, like
Yeah.
I said, we have to get back to, you know, really finding out what's happening in our community. So I'm encouraged, even though I don't live in the community anymore, my mom still lives there. My church family is there. I still have family members there. So I still feel like I'm from Marin
Oh,
City.
you are.
know,
Yeah.
I am Marin City.
Yeah.
And so I do anticipate going to some of these meetings and finding out what's going on.
I'll join you. I'm really interested in
And I
it.
think we have to take an active position in going to these meetings and saying, hey, you know,
Light a
because
little
the CSD,
fire.
the Community Services District works for the people. And I think what we don't understand, you know, as residents, is that if we don't show up and we don't have a voice, we don't say what we like to have, and then the CSD is left to consider for us what is best for the community.
And
But
that's where it's broken.
That's where it's broken everywhere.
Yep.
It's not just the Marin City community. People don't ask what we want.
Right.
They just take the assumption that this is what we need, or, you know, this is what they need.
Right. I
But
want
they
to
never
change
ask
that.
us what we
Right,
need.
right.
They give us what we think we want.
Right.
And so I should change that. They never ask us what we need. You know.
That's where I want to be different, and that's where, you know, with the Aragon Foundation, we're going in and just doing landscaping, sitting down with people
Yeah,
and asking them, talking about it, like
That's it.
having conversations, bridging those gaps,
And then providing what
And
we
then
need,
yeah.
not taking the information, doing the surveys, and get
No.
the information, and then still come up with a plan that works for you, not what works for the community.
or taking the money and spending it on overhead
On
or
overhead.
rent or whatever. So we're fully 100% volunteer.
Yeah.
What we're doing, so there's no overhead. I mean,
not at
every
all.
single dollar will just fund right back into the community.
Yes.
And I really want to have like a liaison, like for Marin City, someone in the Canal neighborhood, someone up in Novato, and we've set those up. We're just waiting for someone in a program in West Marin, but we'll at least have a program in each of the
Yes.
those communities that
That's
historically have had, you know. Well, we could go into talk for an entire hour about
Yes.
historical reasons why this is happening,
Right.
but we know better.
We
We
do.
know better now, and
do.
we need to change.
And we
people
have to
need
do, when
step
you
up.
know better, you do better.
You do better, hopefully. I mean, for me, but for a lot of
Yeah.
people, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So this is really encouraging. And
So then we have to ask the question of ourselves.
right,
What is my purpose, and what are my intentions towards certain communities?
Right.
Like, what is it really about? Is it about not only bridging gaps, but wanting to be a part of? Because it's one thing to service, and it's
Right.
another thing to serve.
interesting. Go a little deeper on that for me.
You can service a community, you know, you can put funding into that community. You can say, oh, we did this and we did that. This is where, for the outcomes, so you get more money. But are you really being of service? Are you really connected? Are you really in tune? Do you really care?
Do you care? Yeah.
You know? Because if you think about, you know, where your heart is,
Right.
that your treasure will be there also.
Ah,
You know? So it's like what you really love and what you're really passionate about, your treasure will be there.
Yeah.
So it's not just finances, it's your love, it's your time.
uh-huh.
Would you do this if you didn't have any money?
Yep.
Would you come in here and do this? And for a lot of people, the answer would be no. You know,
Well, they're not connected to their mission yet.
exactly. You have to be connected to the mission, and the
Right.
mission has to serve.
And you have to be open to receiving that, to know what your next steps are,
Exactly.
to be guided to where you can help. And for me, I wake up every day and I pray and say, like, how can I best serve others today? And
Exactly.
that's, you know, I didn't always behave
didn't
that
always-
way,
yeah.
but I've become that. And I think, you know, you hit over 50, you start thinking
You
about
think a
things
little
like
different,
this.
yeah.
And before it was,
Because
you
we're
know,
not going to live forever. And my
No.
thing is, with all the gifting, with all the talent, with all the ability that I have, what good is it if I take it to the grave with me?
Right.
Legacy is about what you leave behind for somebody else to continue.
Right.
You know, so if what I'm doing lays a foundation for somebody else to come along and pick up, even if it wasn't this project, just with my singing alone, just what I do individually for the community,
Right.
what good is it when they have nobody else to call when I'm gone? Because I get all the calls. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not tooting my horn. That is just a reality.
Yeah, you've
and
sang it at my family's.
you know what I mean? And
services.
sometimes I have to say no because I'm doing something else. And people will oftentimes say, well, we're not doing it on that day. We'll do
Right,
it on
we'll do
this
it when
day.
you can come."
Just so that I can come.
That's beautiful.
But what good is that if I'm gone and,
And no
I
one's
haven't
there.
left a training behind for somebody else to step into that? I really desire that. I'm
It's
not
really
gonna
a
live
unique
forever.
role.
Yeah,
It's-
you understand
yeah.
what I'm saying? And I realize that. And I want to be able to position other people,
Little proteges.
you know, to be able to carry this work because it's service.
Yeah.
That's my service to the community,
Yeah.
you know. And so people would ask me, you the funeral singing lady, why you, how come you not doing this? And I was like, well, this is what God allotted me. It's not
Right.
like I haven't been on other platforms, but He gave me this. I started singing at funerals when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't really even know. And it's like there were adults that could have did that, but that's where my ministry and service began, in singing in the community.
Yeah.
Outside of what I was doing, and maybe because I was that child singing on those platforms, you know, with the Concerned Citizen from Marin City. I don't know. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, I was 10. Why you ask me to sing at a funeral for somebody who was 60, 70 years old? It didn't make sense to me as a 10-year-old. But as I grew and as I continued to do the work, I understood that it was ministry. You know, it was something that God had assigned to me.
The service. Yeah.
Service. But I'm thinking about it now. I'm 65, so I've been doing this for 55 years.
Wow. And it's such a pinnacle part of someone's life and remembrance, and like you play such an important role in remembering back of the day that you said goodbye to your loved ones, and you're there and you're so comfortable with it, and you make other people comfortable with it. And I think that that's beautiful. A lot of people are afraid of the dying process and death, but that's unfortunate because it's just this beautiful part of life as everything else is. And to understand that and to be gifted with having that responsibility of being there for the families and seeing them off in the right way.
In the right way.
Huge.
And understanding that people grieve. I've seen so many different ways of how people grieve. To be able to now, and I never would have thought that I would have worked in the mortuary industry or did anything connected to that other than singing. And to be able to meet with families and help them through that process. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And to be able to bring peace in it, not just for the individual, but for the family. Because when you've got siblings and parents and everybody, cousins and aunts, and everybody's doing something different with their grief, and be able to say to them,
it can get messy.
Be able to say to them, it's okay, let them grieve. That's the way they grieve. It's different for everybody. And people to come into that understanding and then have a wonderful celebration of life because you're not fighting and bickering and this person can't come and we don't want them there. I mean,
so gets the diamond.
It can be, but it brings joy to my heart when I see people in families being able to have the service for their loved one that is, not just about the service, but about the love of family and community.
Yep.
How that all comes together is amazing.
You help pull that together, and a lot of families have two sides of a family, and when they can come together under one roof at Cornerstone or any other church or any other place.
Any other place, because we've been in the park.
I mean, God just doesn't live
Wherever
only
we
in
go.
churches.
That's right, wherever we go.
Right. That's beautiful. So if there's like one thing, like I think we have to start on one program and then build upon that.
Yes.
So I think the program to start on, and correct me if you see it differently, would probably be the youth choir, right?
Yeah, we start with there.
Okay. And but I don't want to go in with just like a one-off pilot program. I want to go in.
Oh, we know what the mission is, so it's in our mission. It's in our statement
Mm-hmm.
about where the direction we're going in, and I would like the funding to reflect that.
Right.
So that we don't end up in that situation where, okay, the choir's done, now what's next, and now write a whole nother program.
Right.
No, we're going into this knowing that we're starting with a youth choir, but the artist in the development, the artistry development, the social emotional development is a part of all that, because you can't do a choir without dealing with all that.
Right. And
Because
I feel like
we're
as
dealing
it
with
grows,
children that are coming from various backgrounds and different experiences, and whether they're shy, whether they're outgoing, and bringing all that together. So it's all a part of that. So I think that's knowing that we're starting with a choir, but we're going to be moving in the direction of development of the individual, of the whole person, not just the artist, but the whole person. And I think that because when you're a performer, they want the whole package. And what you see it in football, these guys are great athletes. These people are great athletes, but they don't have the social emotional development that goes with that. And they get all this money, and they get the fame, and they shipwreck because they haven't learned how to deal with themselves, and they're reckless. Not because they want to be, but because they haven't developed that part of their life. So we don't want our young people to get developed in one area, and then when they get stardom or they get that opportunity, they blow it because they blow up and they don't
have the emotional
they don't have the emotional intelligence, or maturity to handle all of that. Because with each new level, there's a different discipline. That goes with that. So they have to have the discipline as well.
Now, how do you envision, I guess as it starts going, other people will just naturally be drawn to it and want to help, but for kids that have had like adverse childhood experiences or maybe need some additional counseling and things like that, how do you envision other people within the community or outside of the community coming in and guiding the kids into other aspects of what they need for the whole person?
And that's what's so unique about our community, because you never hear about all the great stories. We have Elizabeth Talley, who is a physician, you know, and I believe her is especially is with children. You know, we have marriage family counseling, people who are, you know, in the community that can lend their support and their intelligence to whatever situations we might have or might arise. You know what I mean? It's a wealth of stuff. You know, we have people who have become architects from the community. You don't hear about those stories. All you hear about is all the bad stuff or the stuff that's kind of like, but you don't hear about the stories. And I think our children need to. We owe them that.
Yeah.
To know that there have been success stories.
Like Malachi.
Yeah, Malachi, the researcher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so many, but you may not know that. You know, nobody really talks about it. Malachi's kind of been out there in the open.
Yeah.
But still not enough.
Yeah.
You know, her picture's not anywhere in the community. She's a face of Marin City.
Yeah.
There's no pictures.
And the
of,
granddaughter of Royce. So,
you understand what I'm saying? And I'm just saying, like, that needs to be known. We need a wall of fame, you know?
That would be cool.
All of the people who have contributed,
Yeah.
you know, so that they know who's in their community and that person came from here.
Right.
If you can see it, you can be it.
Oh.
And most people dream to aspire to be like somebody else, or at least, you know, a better version, or I want to be able to accomplish that. Can I? Yeah, I can, because the story out there is nothing good comes from Marin City. And that's not the truth.
That's not the truth at all.
Greatness has come from there.
Right.
My dad, you know, a business owner for years, he actually started the work furlough program for
Really?
Marin County.
Tell me about
Yes.
that.
He owned a detail shop.
Okay.
And there were young men from the community, people that would go to prison, go to jail, and nobody would hire them when they got out. And so my dad, you know, through the probation department said, hey, I'll hire him. I'll give him a job. Because if back then it was either you get a job or you go back to jail. You didn't, there was no playing around with that. So he would hire them. And it was more like a work furlough.
It's not John Wade. That's not.
No,
Oh, okay.
Pee-wee, Billy
okay.
Thomas. He owned Pee-wee's Auto Detailing in
Oh,
Santa Fe
okay.
for years,
Uh-huh.
and he started that. And now it's a whole big old thing, you know, about it. But my dad actually was the person who started that, you know, because he just felt like they don't need to go back to prison. They need a job.
Yeah.
And he would hire them, and then they would go from him, and he would pass them on to some of E.F. Sweeney's, because he was, you know, connected with all of the automobile places, because he did the cars.
Right.
And so they would say, hey, Pee-wee, you know, you got somebody coming? He's like, yeah, I'll send him down there. And they'd end up working for him, because my dad could always hire somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he would give them the skill, and he was probably one of the only people that I know who ended up becoming a professor at College of Marin without getting a degree.
Oh, wow.
He ended up teaching because of his years of experience in detailing.
I had no idea.
And so he became a professor. He taught at College of Marin for about a year, but people don't know those stories,
Right.
you know?
Now, is there anyone in the community doing that now, giving jobs to kids that are coming out of like the probation or parole or
I don't think so.
no?
You know, you kind of have to find your own. I think the probation department may help with that, but
Yeah.
you see a lot of people going back to jail or failing
Oh,
probation
I know.
because of the people who were there back in the day in the 60s and 70s, you know. And my father even brought, you know, men that would come from Africa that were in school, and he would hire them, the Matungas.
Wow.
And I don't know if you remember Peter Matunga.
I don't.
But he was from Kenya.
Okay.
And he came and taught Swahili at Tam High School.
Oh, that
so
is
either
cool.
times it was a class probably of 74 to 79
Okay.
that were able to learn Swahili, you know.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
The Aragon Foundation has a program in Kenya.
Oh, wow.
So it started, I'm a dance instructor, so I take groups of dancers to different places.
Okay.
Because I want people to understand where this music is coming from,
Yeah, it's coming
the
from.
roots,
Yeah.
you know. So we did a Cuba trip, and then this last one we went to Kenya. We're going again
Nice.
in September,
Yeah.
where we met with local dancers. The team's called Dance Lab Academy, and they
Okay.
teach where they don't teach Swahili; they speak in
They
Swahili.
speak, yeah.
Kenyans are the nicest people I
They
have
are.
ever met. Well,
They
people
are.
in Bali are nice too, but Kenyans, and they're known to be the nicest people in all of
Right.
Africa. But they are so genuine. Their big
They are.
smiles. We filled each other's hearts so much. It was such a beautiful exchange.
Yeah.
And we did some community give back stuff, but it was an exchange. It wasn't like, oh, we're going in there to.
Yeah, it was an exchange.
It was an exchange.
And that's kind of how it was. He came here,
Right.
and he taught at TAM, and then his brother came, worked in my dad's shop. I think his name was Stephen Matilda.
Okay.
And they went out to Kenya, you know, and served in their communities, you know what I mean? But they came here and got the education and did what they needed to do. And I haven't seen him since, but I still remember some of the, you know, the words that he taught. Mimi, Nini, and Wewe.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was either I, you, or we. And Mimi ni Mwanafunzi. I am a student.
Oh.
Mimi ni Mgeni. I'm a visitor. So if I ever go to Kenya, I can speak a little bit to let them know, you know, not a whole lot.
Well,
Because
maybe
he
you
only
should come to
had,
Kenya with us.
Yeah. he only
So
had-
that leads me just naturally into the next thing. It's like I had this idea of putting this together of doing like some sort of a student exchange, whereas we could get some of the kids from Nairobi, from Kibera informal settlements there. They don't
Yes.
call them the slums anymore, but like some of these kids, we're paying these instructors monthly to teach these kids, so they have somewhere to go after school. They get snacks, they
That
get
is great.
encouragement. I'll send you some of their videos. They're so lovely, and their dancing is
Amazing.
incredible.
Oh, yeah, we can take some lessons.
Yeah, but maybe we do an exchange. Bring
Exchange.
some of those kids here, bring some Marin City kids there, and get a program going. I mean,
Yes.
that is like
Yeah, ultimate.
one of my visions.
Uh-huh.
So it's really cool that you brought up Kenya and that you have a kind of a connection,
connection there, yeah.
We'll get you over there,
Oh, okay.
moving and
Yeah,
shaking.
look.
And
Be great.
that would be awesome. Yeah, they're oh man, I just love those kids over there.
Well, I so appreciate you and your vision and your desire to give back
Yeah.
and be a part of a community that is great and could be greater.
Yes.
You know, and producing young people, you know, mentoring them and seeing them through their visions and seeing them through their dreams. That's so important.
It's huge,
You know.
and I feel like also debunking the myths of Marin City.
Yes, it's huge.
I think that's a big thing. There's just a lot of misinformation and disinformation, and I feel like, but it's people are afraid of what they don't know and they don't understand. And It's
Right.
like if people just went down to the community or the senior center and did karaoke night, they would see these like lovely people that are just enjoying themselves. And I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of. And but I don't know, but people just don't spend enough time. Like it's
Exactly.
getting to know people. and-
Exactly. Exactly.
Breaking
and you
down
can't
those
go
walls.
by what somebody else's experiences were.
Right.
You know, because I think what happens is it's not so much their experience with Marin City, but it's about maybe what they've heard or what they've read about Black people in general.
Right.
And you kind of think, well, they're all the same. Anybody could feel that way about anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like you said, just a lack of knowledge
Yeah.
about who the people are in Marin City and what the community is all about.
And how special
and
it
how
is.
special it is, and you will benefit from a place like that.
Yes.
There is no Marin County in itself is a special place when it comes to being able to kind of live peacefully, but Marin City in itself, it was born out of family, and it still has that feel, you know, that if you come in and you embrace it and you're not afraid to smile at somebody, or
Right.
when somebody says hello, if you're not afraid to say hello back
Right.
or to smile back, you'll reap a benefit because it's so genuine.
Yep.
It's not, we don't say good morning just as a nicety or being polite. We
Right.
say it because that's what we really feel. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like the Asian community. My grandmother is Asian, Black, and Indian. So she kind of raised us with that, like, when you ask somebody how they doing, you're just not, it's not information.
It's just not a nicety. You really genuinely
I
care
genuinely
how they're doing.
care how you're doing.
And if
you
you're doing
know?
bad, tell 'em.
Tell them you're
Yeah.
doing bad,
Yeah.
because you're probably going to get a prayer or a big hug and say it's going to be okay. You know,
Right.
where are you going to find that anywhere else? But if you are not able to embrace that and be open to that, you'll never know.
Right.
Then you'll get the other side. We're like, well, okay, they'll blow you off, and you're like,
Right.
yeah, I won't talk to her no more, you know, or I won't say that.
And that
it's-
just perpetuates
it just-
something that
yeah, that doesn't have to be.
Right.
So, you know, if you don't take that attitude on either side, I
Mm-hmm.
think that we can really learn and be blessed by each other.
on either side.
On
It's
either
interesting
side.
because I remember, being a young woman and going down there and meeting my daughter's grandmother's partner at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You know what?" He said, "You're the only white person I've ever liked." Okay. I said, "Okay, Ralph."
Yeah, because we have our feelings
Yeah,
about certain
exactly.
things,
Yeah.
because of how we've been treated, and
Exactly.
not from slavery days, because we don't know nothing about that. That's our history.
Mm.
But from what we've experienced just in Marin County,
Yes.
And everybody knows Mr. Monaster, or have heard about Mr. Monaster, and he started taking young people, all over the place. It wasn't just Marin County; it was all throughout the Bay Area, and he exposed me and others to a whole nother world. Opera, classical music, black theater. I mean, I was seeing all that stuff at like 9, and I was probably one of the younger people, because you had to be about 12 before he would take you anywhere. But my sisters were going, so he took me as a, an add-on. But he invested in my life, ordered magazines from every genre of music. So I grew up singing country, I grew up singing pop, I grew up singing soul, gospel.
I love that you were exposed to all of that.
He exposed me to
Now,
a
who
lot.
is he?
He was a teacher at Martin Luther King, which was Richardson Bay at the time.
And how do you say his name?
Mr. Monaster. He's deceased now. He passed away some years ago, but it was because of him a lot of the young people in Marin City were exposed to life outside of Marin City. Now, I had some exposure. My dad was a businessman, so he was in San Francisco. I was all over the place, but he added another level of it when it came to, he took an interest in whatever the individual was interested in. So maybe I got some of that from him. My sisters were into gymnastics. He took them to the Catalina Islands, to...
What an amazing teacher.
Yeah, he took them to the Olympics, so he took us to the snow every year. We went skiing. I would have never known how to ski had it not been for Mr. Monaster. And so he dared.
He would just pile a bunch of kids in a bus
in a station wagon.
Oh, a station wagon. and head
then
up to the
sometimes it'd
snow.
be 6, 7 of us, and we'd go to the snow. And every year, and he took pictures of everything that he did with us, and some of it is archived in the.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he showed up at my 12th birthday party. It was a surprise party. And he captured all of that on camera and on video, and
he believed in the kids and the community.
He believed in the kids and believed in the community. He lived in San Francisco, and he taught in Sausalito.
Okay.
And eventually he moved to the Marin City community because we were his family.
Wow.
God, I will forever cherish that. Even when I played Ma Rainey, Black Bottom, at College of Marin, he came, he took pictures, sent me
that wasn't very long ago,
playbills.
huh?
That wasn't very long ago. Sent me the playbills, sent me articles about Ma Rainey, everything that I was ever interested in. He made sure that he supported it.
That's so beautiful.
From every level up, and so I think a lot of that giving back, and a lot of that being, the person that I am today. I had somebody who mentored that, who showed that was the epitome of Mr. Monaster.
Are there carbon copies of him? Can we just put him in?
I have not seen one.
Yeah.
And I think some of us who sat under his tutelage and had a chance to really get to know him are the ones that do. You look at Ida, you look at my sister Teresa, who is the director of Helen Vine.
Oh, she is. Okay.
Yeah, the recovery program. It was the detox center.
Yeah.
She was one of the recipients of Mr. Monaster, and so gone on to do some great things.
Wow.
Alicia Sweeney, Carmen Sweeney.
Those are Kiana's
they were
cousins.
the younger people under us.
Uh-huh.
But since her, she actually made it, I think, to the Olympics and got injured and wasn't able to participate. But
who was this?
Alicia Sweeney.
Lisa?
Lisa. Ask her.
In the Olympics? What did she do?
She wasn't able to run. I think she had.
Oh, she was a runner.
She was a runner, and I think she injured herself. She still holds, I think, some of the records at TAM.
I had no idea.
Yeah, she was.
And I've known her for 30 years.
I know.
And I didn't know.
Ask her about Mr. Ray Monaster.
Okay.
She will tell you.
Okay.
Just some great stories. And yes, I can say no more. Lisa, so what I'm talking about.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Well-rounded, he gave us so much that there's
and all
nothing,
these women are successful.
Yeah, all of
because
us.
he really believed in you.
He believed in us, and he poured into us. even when doors were closed for us, I mean, we'd go to Fairfax and we'd be called, the N word, and they look at us like, "What are you doing here?"
In Fairfax?
In Fairfax,
The most
Terralinda,
liberal hippie town in the world?
Fairfax. We used to remember when they had the, I think it was the town center. They had the 7 pools.
No.
Oh,
7
God.
pools?
Yeah, 7 pools at this one site, and one was for diving, but they had, and Mr. Monastro, I still have pictures of me and Lisa and our babysitter that Mr. Monastro took, just in different places, in different settings. The go-karts that used to be where Victoria Station used to be, right underneath the underpass.
Yeah.
That used to be a track for the go-karts.
Really?
A lot of us learned how to drive on the go-karts.
On the go-karts?
And yeah, Mr.
Well,
Monastro.
that explains.
Mr. Monastro pulling into the Corte Madera Mall after hours, and we drive around the parking lot, and we are good drivers, Of course, we started early in the community, but Mr. Monastro would, let us practice in the station wagon, and we would.
That's amazing. That's so literally he touched like every aspect of your upbringing.
And it was individualized. Like, even though we were collectively together,
He made everyone feel special.
yeah, because he could spot out what your unique gifts and talents were, and
Right.
he would feed that.
And that's what you'll do.
That's what I'll do.
That's what you do.
That's what I do.
You do.
That's what I do.
Wow.
And I love it. And,
Yeah.
and not to take anything away from my parents, because they were great.
Right.
Like, Mr. Monastro was just an extension.
Well, they
He-
say it takes a
He
community.
was our godfather.
Yeah.
He was our godfather for sure.
That's so
And he didn't mind
incredible.
owning us and telling people that.
Yeah.
So much so that he moved to the community.
That's
to be
beautiful.
with us.
Michael Aragon lived in Marin City for a long time.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he was on the other side or where. I'm not sure where he lived. I'll have to ask. But yeah, he loved that community. And so it just feels so right to give back. All kinds of reasons for me. But wow, it's too bad we don't have more people like that, that really invest and care and don't just talk the talk.
I think there are a lot of people. I think we just need to uncover it, because
Okay.
so many people have been injured in the process, injured by life, and I think that this will bring some real healing. Because
Yeah.
it's not just about what we're doing for the kids, it's about showing what we do and how we do it makes a difference, and anybody can do it.
Right.
Anybody can heal. Anybody can, succeed. So don't stop dreaming.
Right.
Don't stop. Don't stop. And I think that's why I continue to sing at my age, and I continue to do what I do, because I could have stopped a long time ago. I'd be like,
And you do it well.
But I do it because it keeps me alive. It's my heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's your gift. It's one of your many gifts. But
Yeah.
it would be a shame for you not to be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this time in my life, like I said, I want to train other people to be able to carry on that legacy for Marin City and the people of Marin City community.
Huge. Well, we just need the right people to see this video to make that investment.
That part.
The heart investment. Yeah, I'm not talking about money.
No,
I'm talking
heart,
about interest, heart.
The heart. Because where your heart is, your treasure will be there.
I love that saying. Maybe that'll even be the title of this video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I do with these videos is I'll run it by you first, but I put them on our YouTube channel so people can see it, and then I write an article about it and use it in our blog. So if you feel comfortable with that, yeah. I don't feel like there's anything we said today that can't be
used. Yeah.
used. I mean, I think all of it is true and needed. And I'd love to have more discussions like this with you. And you just are so resourceful.
Thank you.
And it seems like you just really took everything in like a sponge and just like utilized the positive. And I'm sure you've experienced negative too, but let that subside.
That lay. That's not what's important. It's about showing what is and what can be.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you too, Carrie, for stepping into this place and wanting to bridge those gaps.
I do,
and really know and see.
Yeah.
The community for who we are and what we are.
Right. Yeah.
See our heart.
It's
Because Marin
important.
City has heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna end this video on that note.
Alrighty.
Marin City does have heart. That might be the title.
Yeah.
I don't know. Competing
We'll figure it
titles.
all
We'll
out.
figure it
You'll
out.
figure it out. You come up with some good stuff.
Okay, I will. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.